Well, today we're going to do a little comparison of the Hobart Handler 140 and the titanium Flux 125 from Harbor Freight. These are both 110 volt machines. They're both going to be set up to run 030 wire here. There is a little bit of a difference, so this is an apples to oranges comparison. We're running C25 gas and solid core wire on the Hobart. And the Harbor Freight welder is only a flux core machine, so it'll be flux core wire on that machine. This is what we're going to weld together. Just going to do a fillet weld on each side, one with the Hobart, one with the Harbor Freight titanium welder. And we'll take a look at what they look like and the different sounds. One thing to mention, the Hobart is a little noisier. It's a transformer type welder, while the titanium welder here is a inverter type welder. So they're going to sound different. They do weld a little bit different. I'll be pushing the puddle with the Hobart and pulling the puddle with the titanium. First weld here will be with the Hobart. Okay, there's a look at our first weld. As to be expected with welding with shielding gas, the weld is very clean. You could run over this with a wire brush and paint right over it and it would look great. And we'll see the difference here when we do the other side with the titanium welder. Okay, we'll do the other side here with the titanium now. So this is the as welded condition after welding with the titanium welder. As you can see, there's a fair amount of slag there and spatter. So I'm going to grab a brush here, clean that off with a brush, and then we'll go after it with a slag hammer. So it cleans up fairly well with the brush, but we'll still get it with the hammer too. So there's a look at that weld with the slag kind of brushed off and chipped off real quick here. So unfortunately I ran out of test pieces here that I had pre-cut scraps here, so won't be able to do a side-by-side comparison, but this is the best you'll get here. So there's the Hobart weld. There's the titanium weld. A lot more splatter with that titanium with the flux core wire. Not nearly as much, I don't think, with the Hobart. Looking from the end here, it's this top weld here. That's the titanium weld there. This is the Hobart weld over on this side here. So you can see it's a little bit longer length of the weld from the Hobart. I'm not sure about penetration. I don't have a great bandsaw or anything like that to do a section of the weld, do anything fancy like that. So this is as good as it gets for my welding and my garage. Well, I decided to cut a section of this weld out with my grinder, and then I cleaned it up a little bit with a roll-lock abrasive disc in the die grinder there. So you can't see where the penetration necessarily of the weld, but you can see seems to me like the Hobart puts on a little more material, and that's the weld here on the left side, right there. This one over here on the right side would be from the titanium welder. And of course they are titanium welder. It's an unequal leg length weld, just because I'm not quite as familiar with that welder. I have a lot more experience on the Hobart welder. As you can see, it's a much more uniform fillet weld than I did with the titanium welder. But hopefully this gives you a little bit better idea if you're considering one of these machines, which one you should go with. Personally, for welding in the shop, I definitely prefer this Hobart, just because it welds so much nicer with that gas. If I was going to be grabbing a welder and running out to weld something out in the field, it'd for sure be that titanium. This thing's super light. That Hobart weighs at least 50 pounds, and that's just the welder. That doesn't count a spool of wire either. I haven't run a whole lot of flux core out of this. The only time I have is when I've run out of gas. But this one here is super portable, 110 volt, works